Chapter 225. Tomahawk Mercenary Hall. Yi Tian came alone, and soon saw the Emperor-level powerhouse from the Tianfu Superbase. Emperor Yi Tian. This is the Emperor of Torture Fire from the Tianfu Superbase. The Tomahawk Emperor introduced Yi Tian. Emperor of Torture Fire. This is Emperor Yi Tian, the #1 powerhouse of our Zhanghai Superbase. The Tomahawk Emperor then introduced Yi Tian to the Emperor of Torture Fire. Yi Tian simply said hello to the other party and sat down separately. Surreptitiously, Yi Tian used his copying talent to take a look at the other party's talent. Human, Zhang Xing. Cultivation talent, Hui Wei. Strength talents, Arcanon. Defense talent, Arcane. Speed talent, Top. Fire Spear talent, Arcane. 3 mystery-level talents, and judging from the breath, they should be Emperor-level powerhouses who have broken the physical limit twice or 3 times and belong to the 36 Emperor level, Yi Tian judged. He didn't pay attention to powerhouses at this level, but the Tianfu Superbase sent one at random, which showed the strength of the Tianfu Superbase. 2 great emperors. This time I came to trade the design of the advanced teleportation array. It's 10 million yuan chi stones, and the space stones needed to build the advanced teleportation array are also 10 million yuan chi stones. The Emperor of Torture and Fire spoke directly, his tone a little arrogant. In fact, the Emperor of Torture and Fire somewhat looked down on the Zhanghai Superbase. After all, the gap between the two sides was very large. They were both superbases, but the Zhanghai Superbase and the Tianfu Superbase were several grades behind. He was too lazy to spend a long time in the Zhanghai Superbase. It was a waste of time. There is no need for space stones. Our Zhanghai Superbase can build a teleportation array, Yi Tian said. When the Emperor of Torture Fire heard this, he was immediately surprised. Is it possible that your Zhanghai Superbase still has high-level spatial talents? High-level spatial talents are very rare. Even in the Tianfu Superbase, there aren't many high-level spatial talents, and 2 of them are difficult to promote to the Emperor level due to talent problems. There's only one Emperor-level high-level spatial talent, but there's also one top-level spatial talent. For these high-level spatial talents, the Tianfu Superbase is very precious, and it is always protected by Emperor-level powerhouses. He had been to several superbases. None of them had high-level spatial talents, and they all gritted their teeth and bought space stones. I'm a high-level spatial talent. As Yi Tian spoke, a spatial blade appeared in his hand, and a terrifying aura permeated out. The Emperor of Torture Flame's expression changed drastically, and fear appeared on his face. He sensed the danger of death, and if this spatial blade was aimed at him, he had no hope of escaping. This spatial blade could kill him in an instant. It's so strong. The Emperor of Torture Fire didn't dare to underestimate the Emperor level of the Zhanghai Superbase, and his face became solemn, without his previous contempt. Emperor of Torture Fire, if I can build a teleportation array, I don't need to buy space stones. I only buy the design of the advanced teleportation array. Isn't it time to make a deal? Yi Tian asked. Yes, yes, yes. The Emperor of Torture and Fire nodded again and again, and his attitude changed greatly from his previous demeanor. When the Tomahawk Emperor saw this scene, he couldn't help but sigh that strength is everything. Although his strength was stronger than that of the Emperor of Torture, he also knew that the Emperor of Punishment Fire would not be afraid of him much, because he wasn't strong enough to make the Emperor of Torture Fire desperate. Yi Tian's strength, however, made Emperor Torture Emperor desperate. Then the deal began, and in the past 3 days, the major forces had also gathered 10 million yuan chi stones. Yi Tian would participate in the construction of the teleportation array, saving 10 million yuan chi stones for the Zhanghai Superbase, so he didn't need to pay any yuan chi stones. This is 10 million yuan chi stones, you count. Yi Tian and the Tomahawk Emperor handed the storage bag containing 10 million yuan chi stones to the Emperor of Torture Fire. After the Emperor of Torture Fire checked it, he took out a design drawing. 2 great emperors, you should also be very clear about the importance of the design of the advanced teleportation array. Your Zhanghai Superbase must ensure that it is not leaked, otherwise the Tianfu Superbase will definitely investigate. The Emperor of Torture Flame reminded him. This rule wasn't set by him, but by the Tianfu Superbase. He had to say it. As for swearing, that was useless. because there were a lot of people involved in the construction of the teleportation array base, and they couldn't all swear. And once this kind of design was given, if you wanted to spread it, even if you swore, there was a way to avoid it. So, the Tianfu superbase didn't require other superbases to make an oath, as long as they promised not to leak it, and naturally they couldn't take it out for trading, otherwise the Tianfu superbase wouldn't be spared. Don't worry, we won't leak it, Tomahawk reassured. The strength of the Zhanghai superbase was far inferior to the Tianfu superbase, so naturally it wouldn't make such a move to offend the Tianfu superbase. Besides, it wouldn't be long before all the major superbases had advanced teleportation array blueprints. Who would they sell them to when the time came? The transaction was completed, and the Emperor of Torture Fire hurriedly left. Emperor Yi Tian, I took a look. This high-level teleportation array requires a lot of materials, and many of them are very precious. Even some materials can be used to create Morningstar weapons. The Tomahawk frowned. If the high-level teleportation array could be built with ordinary materials, then it would be strange. How long will it take to collect it all? Yi Tian asked. The Tomahawk Emperor pondered for a while and said, if the major forces work hard, they should be able to get it together in half a month. Well, in half a month, I'll personally assist the array mages in building a high-level teleportation array. Yi Tian assured. Then it's up to Emperor Yi Tian at that time. Tomahawk King held his fists. In half a month, Yi Tian entered retreat again, and with the help of 10 times the time acceleration, his cultivation finally broke through, breaking the 7th physical limit. And with the help of the Enlightenment Heavenly Monument and the 10-fold time acceleration, the Tao realm had also made some progress, reaching the realm of 1% and 70%. The speed of progress in the Sword Tao realm was indeed very slow, but there was nothing that could be done. After all, Yi Tian's sword skill talent was only at the Morningstar. If he could be promoted to the Huihui level sword skill talent, then the speed of comprehending the Sword Tao realm would be much faster. It was a pity that there were many people who had reached the top level in sword skills, but those who could reach the morning level sword talent had only been encountered by Yi Tian on a golden armor corpse puppet in the temple space, and it was a genius in the ancient civilization era. As for the current era, whether he could still meet the genius of the Morningstar sword technique, he wasn't sure. Therefore, improving the talent of sword skills depended on luck. This day, Yi Tian came to the teleportation hall. This was a teleportation hall specially established by the Zhanghai superbase, which was only built for the teleportation array. The teleportation hall was located in the Mediterranean region of the Zhanghai superbase, and the area was very large, because the teleportation hall not only had to establish a high-level teleportation array, but also establish some intermediate teleportation arrays, so as to connect the major bases near the Zhanghai superbase. Although the Zhanghai superbase hadn't purchased the design of the intermediate teleportation array, it could deduce the design of the intermediate teleportation array from the advanced teleportation array design, which wasn't very difficult. Therefore, the Zhanghai superbase didn't buy the design of the intermediate teleportation array. Walking into the teleportation hall, Yi Tian came to the second layer, and the advanced teleportation array was established in the second layer of the hall. Emperor Yi Tian, the materials of the teleportation array have been gathered, and they can be arranged at any time. A top-level array mage came to Yi Tian and reported respectfully. Chapter 226. Let's get started. Yi Tian nodded and said. He had already seen the design of the advanced teleportation array. If it was arranged by one person, it would be very troublesome, as it involved a dense array pattern. Only if multiple array mages came to arrange it together, could it be arranged in a short time. Yi Tian's task was to use the power of space to construct a spatial array and connect other formations to form a complete spatial teleportation array. If he didn't have the design diagram of the advanced teleportation array, Yi Tian wouldn't know what spatial formations there were. But the moment he saw the advanced spatial formations, he learned those spatial formations. And in the past few days, he had completely understood those spatial formations, and they could be easily inscribed. Rumble. One by one, the array mages began to inscribe the formation patterns, and built a huge array altar from rare materials. Every array mage was very serious and did not dare to relax in the slightest. A few hours passed. A huge teleportation array altar was already located on the second floor of the teleportation hall, and it was perfectly embedded with the ground. Lord Yi Tian, Please take action. A formation mage said respectfully. Good. Yi Tian mobilized the power of space in the void to engrave spatial formations one by one. Whoosh! One by one, the spatial formations were inscribed on the teleportation array altar, and they were connected with other formations to build a huge teleportation array space, which had countless entrances and exits, and could be connected to other teleportation arrays in unknown locations. Time passed little by little. The light on the teleportation array shone brightly, and wisps of spatial power swept away. The other array mages retreated one after another, so as not to be affected by the power of space. After arranging it for a full hour, Yi Tian finally completed the construction of the advanced teleportation array. It's done. Yi Tian breathed a sigh of relief and said. Then, Yi Tian began to build an intermediate teleportation array again. It was much easier to build an intermediate teleportation array, and in just 1 hour, an intermediate teleportation array was built. Then it was time for the experiment. Each teleportation array has a unique marker and coordinates, and the array teleportation space can record the coordinates of other teleportation arrays. Inputting coordinates allows teleportation to the designated teleportation array. Now, they were going to test whether they could teleport between the two teleportation arrays. A king level, a little nervous, stood in the middle of the teleportation array, and used a yuan qi stone as energy to stuff it into the inlay slot of the teleportation array, opening the teleportation array. Teleport! With a bang, the king-level powerhouse disappeared. The next moment, this king-level powerhouse appeared on the second-level advanced teleportation array and was unscathed. The teleportation was successful. They continued to build other intermediate teleportation arrays. For several days, the Zhanghai Superbase had been building teleportation arrays, and had established 12 intermediate teleportation arrays. Afterwards, Yi Tian followed the other array mages into the large bases near the Zhanghai Superbase and helped these large bases build intermediate teleportation arrays. Of course, this wasn't free. It required a certain amount of resources and vitality stones, otherwise wouldn't the Zhanghai Superbase suffer a loss? Many large bases also had a lot of resources, but they weren't stingy with these resources and vitality stones, and they had agreed to build a teleportation array. After all, they could build a teleportation array with the superbase, and enter the superbase at any time. They were extremely happy. This day, Yi Tian took a group of array mages to the Demon Sea base. Rumble! Yi Tian descended, and a wisp of momentum enveloped the Demon Sea Great Base. All the kings sensed it and flew out one by one. Yun Mengli saw Yi Tian and immediately said respectfully, "I've seen Lord Yi Tian." Immediately, he saw many people behind Yi Tian, many of whom were king-level and even saint-level existences. They are formation mages, and each of them is a high-level or above formation mage. Yi Tian introduced. Array mage. Yun Mengli's expression changed. There were hundreds of formation mages here, and they were all high-level and above formation mages. Such a lineup was too luxurious. He was very curious. Why did Yi Tian bring so many formation mages? Could it be that the defense system was to be rebuilt for the Demon Sea base? Yun Mengli, now all the big bases have built intermediate teleportation arrays. The intermediate teleportation array can be freely teleported within 1 million kilometers, so once the intermediate teleportation array is built, the major bases can travel freely between each other, and they can also teleport to the super base, which is very convenient. Of course, there are restrictions on the martial artists of the large base coming to the super base, and not all martial artists can come. Yi Tian said, teleportation array. Yun Mengli heard about this kind of formation for the first time, and after thinking about it carefully, he immediately became excited. If the teleportation array was built, it would be much easier for the warriors of the Demon Sea Superbase to enter the superbase, and once the Demon Sea Superbase encountered danger, they could ask the powerhouses of the Zhanghai Superbase to help at any time. Moreover, the major bases communicating with each other and carrying out trade transactions would definitely allow the large bases to develop rapidly. The construction of the teleportation array would be beneficial to the Demon Sea base. Thank you, Lord Yi Tian, for building the teleportation array for the Demon Sea base. Yun Mengli said gratefully, "Don't be grateful. The Zhanghai Superbase has paid a huge price to get the teleportation array blueprint, so every big base must pay a certain price before we build the teleportation array." Yi Tian said, "Yes, I don't know how much it will take. Yun Mengli asked. 100,000 yuan gas stone. Yi Tian quoted a price. 100,000. Many kings behind Yun Mengli gasped. With so many yuan qi stones, a single big force couldn't take them out at all. And even if the Yun family took out so many yuan qi stones, they would have to break their muscles and bones. Yun Mengli didn't hesitate at all, and immediately said, Lord Yi Tian, 100,000. I agreed on behalf of the Demon Sea Base, but it will take a day to get it together. Okay, I'll give you a day, Yi Tian said. Next, Yun Mengli held a meeting at the Demon Sea Base. Each big force had to pay a certain amount of yuan qi stone. If you didn't want to pay the yuan qi stone, then leave the Demon Sea Base and were not allowed to stay in the Demon Sea Base. The Demon Sea Base was about to establish a teleportation array and establish close contact with the Zhanghai Superbase, and these king-level people could enter the Zhanghai Superbase at any time. Who wanted to leave the Demon Sea Base at this time? Therefore, all the big forces agreed, and although they paid a great price, they could still earn it back. The big forces in the Demon Sea Base gathered a little bit of vitality stones, and soon gathered 100,000 yuan of qi stones. When these yuan qi stones were handed over to Yi Tian immediately began to build a teleportation array. In just 1 hour, the teleportation array was successfully built. The Demon Sea Base was a little farther away from the Zhanghai Superbase, and it was difficult for the intermediate teleportation array to teleport to the Zhanghai Superbase at once, but it could be transferred around other large bases, which could be regarded as taking a few more seconds. For warriors, spending a few more seconds was nothing. The great base of the Demon Sea, in the Great Hall of Teleportation. Yi Tian and a group of array mages stood in the center, and Yun Mengli also stood on top. He wanted to experience what it was like to teleport. After inlaying the yuan qi stone, Yi Tian urged the teleportation array. Teleport! Wow! In the next moment, Yi Tian came to another big base, the Longyang base. Then, Yi Tian began to teleport again, teleporting back to the Zhanghai Superbase from the Longyang Grand Base. It's back! Many array mages laughed. Yun Mengli walked out of the teleportation hall and was stunned when he saw the familiar Zhanghai Superbase. In the past, if he wanted to come to the Zhanghai Superbase, he needed to cross the extremely dangerous Changeling River, and he was terrified every time. And now, in less than 10 seconds, he had come from the Demon Sea Base to the Zhanghai Superbase. It was so convenient. Although each teleportation cost some vitality stones, it saved a lot of time and danger, which was really convenient. Go back! Yun Mengli teleported away on a teleportation array with a smile. Chapter 227. Half a month later. The major bases have basically built intermediate-level teleportation arrays, and they've come into contact with each other to start trade between bases. There are also some new faces in the Zhanghai Superbase. These new faces are all king-level and a small number of grandmasters from the major bases, and these people have been allowed to enter the Zhanghai Superbase freely, but they do not have the status of residents of the Zhanghai Superbase. And the Zhanghai Superbase also got the teleportation array coordinates of the Tianfu Superbase. An emperor level went to the Tianfu Superbase and initially made some deals with them. This day, Yi Tian was going to take the Moon Emperor to the Tianfu Superbase to have a look and learn about it. If he had been staying in the Zhanghai Superbase, it really would be easy to become a frog at the bottom of a well. The teleportation hall, in the second layer of the advanced teleportation array. Yi Tian spent 100 yuan qi stones and opened the teleportation array. Wow! With a flash of light, Yi Tian and the Moon Emperor entered a teleportation channel, and soon arrived at another teleportation array. This was an incomparably huge palace, and the teleportation array under its feet was more than 10 times larger than the advanced teleportation array of the Zhanghai Superbase. Top teleportation array. Yi Tian recognized it at a glance. It was a pity that the Tianfu Superbase didn't sell the top-level teleportation array design at all, and even if it did, the price would definitely be very large, and the Zhanghai Superbase wouldn't buy it. In the teleportation hall, Yi Tian and the Moon Emperor registered and obtained a temporary voucher that they could stay in the Tianfu Superbase for a few days, but not for too long, otherwise they would need to pay a certain fee. Yi Tian, there have been Emperor-level people who have come to the Tianfu Superbase before, and it is said that the Tianfu Superbase also has a building similar to the God of War Tower, called the Glory Tower. Why don't we go and have a look? the Moon Emperor proposed. Good. Yi Tian nodded. Anyway, he didn't know where else to go. The Glory Tower was also a good place to visit. The Tianfu Superbase doesn't allow flying, except at some special times, and in the Tianfu Superbase, the speed on the street cannot exceed the speed of sound. Once it exceeds the speed of sound, one will be arrested by the law enforcement team. However, there will be no problems with the traffic of the Tianfu Superbase, and people will never be delayed by the distance, because each area of the Tianfu Superbase has many primary teleportation arrays, which can be used to teleport freely. Yi Tian and the Moon Emperor used a primary teleportation array to teleport directly to the Glory Zone where the Glory Tower was located. In the blink of an eye, the Glory Zone was reached. After a while, Yi Tian and the Moon Emperor came to the Glory Tower. The appearance of the Moon Emperor could be described as captivating, and many people were attracted by her. But Yi Tian and the Moon Emperor walked hand in hand, and they exuded an emperor-level aura on their bodies, so ordinary people dared not approach. In the Tianfu Superbase, the emperor level was also an incomparably noble existence. Who would dare to provoke ordinary people? The Tower of Glory, like the Tower of the God of War, was also divided into 3 lists. King List, Holy List, Emperor Bang. Each of the names on these 3 lists definitely belonged to the brightest stars. Yi Tian and Emperor Yu didn't care about the characters on the King List and the Holy List, but looked at the Emperor List. First on the Emperor List, Ouyang Tian, Affiliation, 9 Heavens Palace, 7-star Emperor-level combat power. 7-star Emperor grade. It was the first time Yi Tian saw this level division, which was somewhat similar to the ranking on the list of kings of Zhonghai Superbase. In the Zhonghai Superbase, the king level was also divided into 1-star king level, 2-star king level, all the way to the 7-star king level, 8-star king level, and so on. But there was no such division at the emperor level. It wasn't that they didn't want to divide it, but the Zhonghai Superbase didn't even have an emperor-level extreme powerhouse. How could they divide the realm above the 1-star emperor level? They weren't qualified to divide it. The Tianfu Superbase actually gave birth to a powerhouse with 7-star emperor-level combat power, and it is really much stronger than the Zhonghai Superbase. Yi Tian couldn't help but sigh. There were a total of 100 emperor-level emperors on the Tianfu Superbase emperor list, and the last one was a 3-star emperor level, and its strength was also very strong. As for how to divide the so-called star emperor level, Yi Tian didn't know. Although Yi Tian wasn't clear, the emperors of the Tianfu Superbase must be clear. Just then, an emperor level came out of the Glory Tower, and Yi Tian walked over. "Hello, this friend?" Yi Tian greeted. Emperor Qinyong was a little puzzled. Why would a strange emperor level suddenly greet him? But the other party's aura was very strong, obviously stronger than his own, so it wasn't easy to ignore the other party. "Your Excellency is a little unfamiliar. I don't know what to call you," Emperor Qinyong asked. "My name is Yi Tian, and I'm from Zhonghai Superbase." Yi Tian reported his origin. It turned out to be a friend of the Zhonghai Superbase. Emperor Qinyong's enthusiasm weakened a lot. If Yi Tian was a certain emperor of the Tianfu Superbase, he would still respect him. But coming from another superbase, his enthusiasm was very flat. Of course, he wouldn't deliberately show his face. After all, the other party was also a powerful emperor. "I want to know about the division of the combat power of the emperor level. I wonder if you can introduce it?" Yi Tian asked. Seeing Yi Tian ask this question, Emperor Qinyong showed off and said, "It's normal for you ordinary superbases not to understand the division of emperor-level combat power of the Tianfu Superbase. Let me introduce it to you. The division of our Tianfu Superbase into the emperor level comes from the division of the ancient civilization sect era. In the era of ancient civilization sects, the emperor level was divided into ordinary emperor level, 1-star emperor level, 2-star emperor level, 3-star emperor level, all the way to the 9-star emperor level. And above the 9-star emperor level, there were 2 realms of emperor and emperor." "Emperor, emperor." Yi Tian's expression moved, and he asked curiously, "Is there an emperor in the Tianfu Superbase?" "Naturally not." Emperor Qinyong's pupils widened, and he said, "If there is an emperor in my Tianfu Superbase, then what is the concept of an emperor?" In the era of ancient civilization sects, it was also a Tianzhao human being among the Tianzhao, and it is rumored that some sects crisscross many planetary worlds, and it is difficult to give birth to an emperor. The status of the emperor is more noble than that of many god-level existences. God-level? Yi Tian felt that his knowledge was lacking again. But soon, he knew what a god level was from the mouth of Emperor Qinyong. Above the emperor level is the god level, which is enough to be called a realm of gods on a planet. After breaking the physical limit 10 times, the emperor level can impact the god level. If you don't break the physical limit 10 times, you will not be able to impact the god level in your life. There's a big difference between the god level and the emperor level. Once you step into the god level, your body strength will skyrocket by 100 times, but your body strength will always be fixed at this level, and there's no way to continue to improve. The God level is no longer about physical strength, but about divine power. The divine power is evolved from the Yuan force, and with cultivation, the divine power of the God level powerhouse will become stronger and stronger, and the amplification effect will naturally become higher and higher. But the physical strength is as if it has been frozen, and there's no way to improve it a little more. Therefore, an emperor-level existence would want to break some more physical limits. If it's only the 10th physical limit, then the achievement of the emperor level isn't very strong, unless there are other special talents. But who capable of impacting a god-level Tianzhao character wants to only break the physical limit 10 times? For example, Yi Tian, he will definitely not only seek to break the physical limit 10 times, but will definitely pursue breaking the physical limit more times. Chapter 228. Emperor Qinyong, there's no emperor and emperor in the Tianfu superbase, so is there a god level? Yi Tian asked with some curiosity. How can there be a god level? Emperor Qinyong widened his eyes and said, what kind of realm is the god level? It's not just Huihui level cultivation talent that allows one to become a god level. Only a genius with a Shi-Sun level cultivation talent can enter the god level. But there are so few geniuses with a Shi-Sun level cultivation talent. As far as I know, the Tianfu superbase currently only has 6 geniuses with Shi-Sun level cultivation talent. But those 6 geniuses are all young generation, and it may take a long time to reach the impact god level. Moreover, would geniuses of Shi-Ri level cultivation talent be willing to hit the god level after only breaking the physical limit 10 times? That is the foundation related to the god level. Maybe they may not be able to impact the god level for 100 years. Yi Tian nodded secretly. He also agreed with Emperor Qinyong's statement. Emperor Qinyong, can we foreign emperors break into the Glory Tower? Yi Tian asked casually. He didn't expect anything, but Emperor Qinyong's answer made Yi Tian a little surprised. Not right now, but it should be soon. It is said that the virtual world of the Glory Tower is about to cover the whole of China. It seems that the Tianfu superbase has found the remnants of the Glory Tower, which can make up for its defects, and then the function of the Glory Tower will be completed. Once the virtual world covers the entire Huasha region, the emperor level of other superbases will naturally be able to break into the Glory Tower, and even be able to compete with the emperor level of the Glory Tower, Emperor Qinyong said. The virtual world covers the whole of China? Yi Tian was a little surprised. Although the God of War Tower has a virtual world, it is not open to the public, and is only used to challenge levels and the God of War Ring. Warriors with the God of War Ring can use the God of War Ring to enter the virtual world to exercise their combat skills, but they are limited to their own use, and they can't compete with others, and the coverage of the virtual world is not large. And the Glory Tower can cover the entire Huasha region, which is much more awesome. Of course, the God of War Tower is more damaged, but the Glory Tower is complete, which is more powerful. The God of War Tower or the Glory Tower at the peak? It's hard to say. Yi Tian didn't ask any more questions. Emperor Qinyong, however, hurriedly left. Otherwise, he was really afraid that Yi Tian would keep asking, and he would not be able to refuse. In the following time, Yi Tian took the Moon Emperor to visit the Tianfu superbase. I have to say that the Tianfu superbase is much more prosperous than the Zhanghai superbase, and even the geniuses with Huihui level cultivation talent are much more numerous. But Yi Tian was even more curious about whether there were any strange things in the Tianfu superbase. But this problem, it's estimated, is known only to the top emperors of the Tianfu superbase, and even only a very small number of emperors know. The reason why everyone in the Sakuragi Superbase knows about the strange Sakura sacred tree is because the Sakura divine tree is too big, and its root system extends throughout the base, so it's impossible to hide it. But not all strange things can't be hidden, such as the Enlightenment Heavenly Monument. As long as Yi Tian doesn't give others enlightenment, he can still easily hide it. But if it is for the members of the Heavenly Pavilion to enlighten, then there is no way to hide it. After only half a day of shopping, Yi Tian and the Moon Emperor returned to the Zhonghai Superbase. In the following days, information about the Tianfu Superbase was brought back by other Emperor and Saint levels, and the Zhonghai Superbase became more and more aware of the Tianfu Superbase. But the more they understood, the more shocked they were. The Tianfu Superbase was really too powerful. It was also a superbase, but it could easily destroy other superbases. This day, the Tianfu Superbase announced that the virtual world of the Glory Tower had successfully covered the entire Huaxia region. All members above the king level could register an account in the virtual world, but the glory ring to enter the virtual world needed to be purchased. A glory ring required 1,000 yuan chi stones, which was not expensive for a strong person above the saint level. But if you carefully calculated how many powerhouses above the saint level would buy the glory ring, then you'd see how much money the Tianfu Superbase could make. That's an absolute astronomical sum. Yi Tian and the Moon Emperor didn't go to the Tianfu Superbase to buy the glory ring. An emperor of the Moon God sect directly bought a bunch of glory rings and came back, and Yi Tian and the Moon Emperor got the glory ring as soon as possible. The Ring of Glory has no special effect, it only serves as a medium, which can throw people's soul consciousness into the virtual world. Of course, a person's talent can also be presented in the virtual world. After refining the glory ring, Yi Tian's soul consciousness entered an illusory dark space. Soon, a virtual frame appeared, much like a virtual game from a novel more than 100 years ago. Yi Tian registered and quickly filled in the information. The name he gave himself in the glorious virtual world was Emperor of 10,000 Laws. He has a lot of talents, and it felt more appropriate to use 10,000 Laws, so he adopted 10,000 Laws Heavenly Emperor, but others definitely couldn't see the meaning. After registering, Yi Tian saw the usefulness of the Glory Virtual World very clearly. The Glory Virtual World had virtual challenges to fight against warriors. Virtual challenges were one of the only ways to enter the Emperor leaderboard, and martial arts battles were fought between warriors, but there needed to be a bet, and the bet was points. And the Tianfu Superbase had completely taken charge of the Glory Tower, so points had become a currency. You could use treasures to exchange points, or you could use points to buy treasures in the Points Mall. The treasures in the Points Mall were provided by the Temple of Glory. The Temple of Glory was very mysterious, only the Emperor level could really join, and the Saint level could only become a reserve member. In the Tianfu Superbase, the Temple of Glory was undoubtedly the first force, and this time the Temple of Glory was carried out to find the missing parts of the Tower of Glory, as well as to promote the virtual world and establish a teleportation array. At first, the other forces disagreed, and were only willing to rest on their laurels, unwilling to share the teleportation array and the virtual world with other superbases. But the Glory Temple forcibly changed the minds of the other major forces and contributed to this matter. If it weren't for the other great forces insisting on charging a certain fee, the Glory Temple would even be willing to do it for free. Many people wondered about this. Yi Tian was also very puzzled. He always felt that the behavior of the Glory Temple was very strange. But he had to say that the Tianfu Superbase could really develop to the extent it is today, and the credit of the Glory Temple accounted for more than 90%. Let's go through the level of the Tower of Glory first, and see if my strength is about to be at the level of a few star emperors. Yi Tian was a little curious. Tower of Glory Level 1. Yi Tian easily killed the opponent in seconds and broke through the first layer. Second floor, third floor, fourth floor. The 10th layer was not difficult. But from the 11th layer onwards, it would be difficult for ordinary Emperor level people to break through, and ordinary weak Emperor level people would be killed by the gatekeepers of the 11th layer. On the 12th layer, the strength of the gatekeepers was comparable to that of the weaker 36 emperors. On the 13th layer, the strength of the gatekeepers was second only to the Tomahawk Emperor. And when Yi Tian had just broken through the 13th floor, he found that his profile showed. Yi Tian, 1-star Emperor level combat power.